Now, history suggests Kyrie will go off in the next game. He's averaged 36 points and shot 57% in his last 5 playoff games coming off a loss. Those include all 3 of his career 40-point games in the playoffs. So Richard and Farnham are here with me now. And let me start with you here. Again, it's Kyrie. He's a former teammate of yours, and he's a guy who wanted his own opportunity to be the lead guy. He's got to be that. Rough night last night. What did you see?
Well, I just saw really a more intense Milwaukee team. They were swarming towards the ball. They were running with an extra type of pace. There was just a focus that Milwaukee had. And I think once they got things going offensively, then their defense even picked up even more, because you're playing defense trying to get back on offense, because you know Middleton's shooting the ball, Bledsoe's pushing the ball, Brook Lopez is spacing the floor. Everything was working out for those guys. I'm not even talking about Giannis. I'm talking about everyone else on their team.
Well, the Celtics got stagnant offensively, though, and we saw that. They forced the issue. During that 24-2 run, they only had 3 possessions where they passed the ball more than 3 times in a single half-court possession. They had a lot more missed shots. They had those 6 turnovers. And even on that Kyrie drive, there's 4 white jerseys around you. Somebody's open. In fact, 3 people are open. Yeah. You've got to be able to recognize that and be able to facilitate and not force the issue as much.
No, I agree. But when you look at Boston and their struggles over the course of this year, that was kind of their MO. When we saw game 1, now we understand that Indiana, that was not the best team that they were going to play. So you're like, okay, well, let's see. We're all excited about this. And then they came out and played a great brand of basketball. Everyone was moving. Everyone was scoring. But then all of a sudden, when they struggled, look what it was. It was a little too much one-on-one and a little my turn, your turn.
So it's only the 4th time in the history of the NBA that teams split the first 2 games of a playoff series with each winning by at least 20 points. So where do we stand here? In fact, I'm going to throw it open to the whole East, all right? Because this is a pretty wide open East Conference semifinals with these 4 teams, and each of them has won 1 game. So of what we've seen so far, Richard, which looks like the best team in the East to you right now?
But I still like Milwaukee. I like Milwaukee because consistently that's what they're going to do. They didn't change too much. They changed the starting lineup of Mirotic. They put him in there. But for the most part, they just played harder. They played harder. They played with a little bit more intensity. And for a team that hasn't experienced the playoffs, right, that much for the Milwaukee Bucks, I think that they're just going to continue to play harder as they figure it out.
Not a surprise, obviously, with these 4 teams. We've been talking about this for the last couple of months when we're looking at the Eastern Conference, is that these 4 teams are so competitive and so tight. To me, it's still the Raptors. That's who I've been talking about when I've come on the show with you guys. And I believe that Kawhi Leonard and his impact in particular, his understanding of being in these situations, his desire to be the guy. You're talking about a guy that's been a finals MVP, obviously. But you add in a Pascal Siakam as well, and his overall improvement from where he was a year ago to where he's at now. I think the Raptors have the makeup necessary, because it takes pressure off of Kyle Lowry to not have to be that guy with Siakam stepping up. I think the Raptors are going to win the East.
It's interesting because we began this season, I think, talking a lot about Boston and Philly. And in your guys' scenario, we're going to lose both of them here in this round. And that would mean Kyrie Irving's time in Boston perhaps comes to an end.